Good morning. Great morning. Wonderful morning. Spectacular morning. Outstanding morning. Magnificent morning. Yeah, I'm going to say it's supercalifragilisticexpialidocious morning. Yes, the beautiful reminder for you, for me, for all of us that we get to choose. And what is it that we get to choose? We get to choose how we're going to think, which means we get to choose what things mean. Remember, everything is fundamentally meaningless. It's like what William Shakespeare shared. He says, nothing is good or bad. It's our thinking that makes it so. Our thinking. Everything just is. Whatever you're going through here at this moment right now, the only thing that's causing it to be what it is, which leads you to the feeling that you have, is your perception of it. It's what's happening inside. And the best part is that you get to decide what that is. And if you think powerfully with regards to whatever you're going through, then you'll experience power in you, which means you'll lead power to you. Same thing for happiness, wealth, success. And it also works in the opposite as well. The point being is that ultimately you're the one that gets to decide. And that right there is one of the best things that could ever happen to you in your life if you'll just engage with what's called thought. Remember, thoughts are things. Thoughts are energy. Thoughts are the magnets that attract to us the very things that we think. All right, now with that, make sure that you have this with you, this magnificent idea that's written down on a card. Remember, if you are emotionally involved with this, if in other words, if you think of this as more than just an intellectual idea, if you're one with it, if you've made it important, you know what'll start happening? It'll start taking shape in your outer world. Now, again, I want to emphasize that's provided you are loyal to this unseen reality, provided you're one with it. If it's just something that's out there intellectually, it's not going to serve you. It won't help you to manifest it in your outer world. But again, if you make it important, it will take shape on the outside. See, this brings in another beautiful truth that you've heard me say many, many times. Your outer world is a reflection of what's happening in your inner world. So make sure you have this with you. And then also what we've been studying is the Master Key System by Charles Haanel. Make sure you have this copy. If you don't have a copy of this, then just click on the link that we provide to you where you can get this at Amazon so you can read along with us and more importantly, use it. Remember, all the pages within this book have knowledge, information, but knowledge is not power. Knowledge is only potential power, and the only way it becomes power in your life is when what? It's applied. It's the application, baby. That's where it's at. And you can also use as a beautiful companion this amazing book right here, Subconscious Code. All right, so let's dive into this. Are you ready? Nod your heads. Good. Nod your heads. Let's dive into this and let's go into where we are. 1, 2, 3. Boom. Here we are. How cool is that? It's like magic. Now here we are on page 181 in the book. And here we're going to dive into spiritual power. Spiritual power is superior because it exists on a higher plane. Now remember, we live on 3 planes of understanding simultaneously. I'm so grateful for this lesson from good old Bobby P, right? Bob Proctor. The 3 planes, what are they? They are the spiritual to the intellectual to the physical. 3 planes, spiritual, intellectual, physical. A way for you to see the spiritual is the realm of thought. The kingdom of heaven is the kingdom of thought. Write that in your notes, write this around this box. The kingdom of heaven is the kingdom of thought. It's the spiritual, which then leads to the intellectual, of which in the intellectual part of your mind, which is really cool when you look at crazy, awesome stick person. Okay. This is the intellectual. And in here are your higher mental faculties, your imagination, perception, reason, will, memory, intuition, which then lead to the feelings, actions, and then the final plane, which is what we call the results, which are the outcomes, the physical, what you experience here in this material world. And it always goes in that order, from the higher to the lower. Now, this is why he's pointing this out. Spiritual power is superior because it exists on a higher plane. It has enabled man to discover the law by which these wonderful forces of nature could be harnessed and made to do the work of hundreds and thousands of men. It has enabled man to discover laws whereby time and space have been, isn't this interesting, annihilated. And now apparently the law of gravitation is to be overcome. You know, it's interesting when we talk about time and space. There really is no such thing as time and space. I know that sounds kind of weird. I remember when I first heard that, I was going, what the heck are you talking about? But a way that I can share this with you is simply just go into a movie. And have you noticed that when you have gone into a movie that you lose all sense of time? Maybe you go into a period piece where it's something that's happened in a previous, what we call year. But when you're in it, you completely lose all sense of what's happening now. See, that's something that's in us because of this physical experience that we're going through. And in terms of space, it's the same thing. The whole point being is that once you get into this realm, when you enter into it, what gets removed are these ideas that we call time and space. In the physical world, as we know it, there exists the organic and the inorganic. The inorganic, or the mineral world, is absolutely cut off from the plant or animal world. The passage is hermetically sealed. These barriers have never yet been crossed. No change of substance, no modification of environment, no chemistry, no electricity, no form of energy, no evolution of any kind can ever endow a single atom of the mineral world with the what? With the attribute of life. Isn't this interesting? The rock itself doesn't have life. There is energy that emits from it, but it's not life. And why this is being brought up is because you are in this realm of what's called life. Remember, you are a magnificent creative being. The essence of you is creation. The essence of you is life itself. Which leads me to this beautiful gem. Boy, this is a masterpiece. Remember, you are a magnificent creative being. Say that. I am a magnificent creative being, which embodies life, creation. And you're part of that. Now, only by the bending down into this dead world of some living form can those dead atoms be gifted with the properties of vitality, the properties of life. Without this contact with life, they remain fixed in the inorganic sphere forever. Huxley says that the doctrine of biogenesis or life only from life is victorious all along the line. And Tyndall is compelled to say, now pay attention to this, I affirm that no shred of trustworthy evidence exists to prove that life in our day has ever appeared independent of antecedent life. In other words, all the life you see is because there's living happening. It's because there's movement. Now think about that. Movement. Life, there's movement. When something dies, there's no movement. The whole point being is that you get to choose how you're going to move inside, which then turns something that's static into something that's dynamic. Remember, life is dynamic, it's not static, which leads me to this information. Okay? When you think about what's in this information, right? You can see that it's there, it's printed, but it doesn't have life at all whatsoever unless it's used. Now, you can look at this like a rock where the rock can be propelled to move, but it requires something to put it into motion in order for it to affect things that are out there. Well, it's the same thing when it comes down to the information. This is why I say application's the name of the game. You've got to put life into this. You've got to use it if you wanted to make a shift in your environment. Physical laws may explain the inorganic. Biology explains and accounts for the development of the organic. But of the point of contact, science is silent. A similar passage exists between the natural world and the spiritual world. Now, this is important. The natural world, the spiritual world. Okay, very important. Pay attention to this. This passage is hermetically sealed on the natural side. The door is closed. No man can open it, no organic change, no mental energy, no moral effort, no progress of any kind can enable any human being to enter the spiritual world. Now think about that. A man can't open it. It has to be something that's within thought. If someone physically can't do it, it's happening in the inner world. And why is this important? Well, because remember, the spiritual flows to the physical, to the material. A thought leads to ideas. Ideas are nothing more than a thought or a group of thoughts that are led towards a specific purpose. Cause, effect. You want to change the effect? You got to deal with what's in your heaven. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven, as it is here. Will be done here as it is in here. You want to be rich, wealthy, living an abundant lifestyle? It's got to happen in your heaven first. It's not anything that the material can open up. And that's pretty awesome, isn't it? Because you can go there. But as the plant reaches down into the mineral world and touches it with the mystery of life, so the universal mind reaches down into the human mind and endows it with new, strange, wonderful, and even marvelous qualities. Think about that. You have this mini verse, which is your world. You have yours, I have mine, of which we're connected to the universe, the universal mind. The universal mind reaches down into the human mind, reaches into you. And by the way that it connects to you is through the subconscious mind. This is where intuition comes into play. See, that's where the ideas come from. Now, all men or women who have ever accomplished anything in the world of industry, commerce, or art have accomplished because of this process. You're going to find that that's exactly how you've accomplished everything that you have. And by the way, don't think that you haven't accomplished some pretty awesome things. Every single one of you have. But you'll find that those accomplishments, they started in the mind in the form of an image of which you were loyal to the idea, which then led to the outcome. See, from the spiritual to the intellectual to the physical. Remember, that's the order of creation. Where people get jacked up is they think from the downside up. Always remember that if you're focusing from down here, whatever the results are, the outcomes from the effects, what happens is that invites the image into your mind. And if that's the image that's now in the spiritual realm, which is your thoughts, remember, like attracts like in the mind. So what starts to come into your mind? Like thoughts, like ideas, of which you'll start thinking the same things, which then means you'll feel the same things, which means you'll do the same things, which means, oh my God, you're going to deliver the same result. That's hell. More of the same. And that's unfortunately how most people think. They think from the downside up. No, you must think from the upside down, from the inside out. Now, again, you can experience this simply by analyzing all the physical things that are in your outer world.